Sister-in-law accuses me of getting with her after I had a few drinks, and I know I didn't do that. But she's telling the whole family that I did, and now she's saying that there was some foul play involved. You guys will not believe how fast this story escalates.
Believe me, I did not want to write this. And there's someone else, or, some place I could vent or go to, I could. And I would. But unfortunately, or fortunately, this remains my only option. 2 days ago, something happened to me that changed my entire life, and I feel both humiliated and embarrassed even talking about it. Also, it's left me in a heavy dilemma. And I felt that this would be the best way to get advice and stay anonymous. So, hey, I'm 30, male. Before any of this, I was actually living a happy life. I live alone and I collect and sell watches. It's a tough business to put your foot in, but once you do, you're kind of set for life. I work minimal hours while making a lot of money, so you can understand how good life is going. Although I live alone, my house is quite close to my family as I didn't want to move too far away from them. I live close to both my parents and my brother's house. They live separately, and that sentence confused you. Anyways, my brother Ryan is married and lives with his wife Jenna, my sister-in-law, who undeniably is the main part of my problem. So I absolutely love everyone in my family, but I am particularly close with Ryan, my older brother. Me and him have always had a great bond, as growing up we were always a team. He's helped me go through numerous things, and there is, nobody else I would want by my side than him whenever I face something scary. Ryan is a very kind person, and I have heavily depended on him, more than my parents or anyone else, to help me when times get tough. He's the person I went to whenever I had to make a tough decision or anything like that. But unfortunately, this time I cannot ask him what to do or even share with him what happened to me, as my decision is going to heavily impact his life. I also had a great relationship with Jenna, my sister-in-law. I thought she was a good person and a great match for my brother. When my parents were not happy with him marrying her, I was the one who stood with them to get my parents to agree. Obviously, I did this more for my brother, but I did believe in them. Until 2 days ago, she had been nothing but kind to me and always took care of me like she was my own sister. Up until the start of this year, when my girlfriend broke up with me. I used to think she had grown to love me as a sister, just like my brother did, but post-breakup, things got a little weird. You guys have no idea how much now I have thought about all this, and how much I regret not making the connection and telling my brother everything. If only I had not been blinded by my own love and care for them, I would not be in this position. It really tells you a lot about love, doesn't it? It's a double-edged sword. So, a girl I had been dating for over 5 years broke up with me, and obviously it left me devastated. I still have not recovered fully, and she left for valid reasons, so I could not even be mad at her and only blame myself, so it hurt a lot. It was about a month after that I started noticing that my sister-in-law liked me a bit too much, or that it had changed after my breakup. She started getting a little too close to me and would hug me just a bit tight, and her touch would make me think that she doesn't look at me like I do. But I ignored it because even the thought of it was completely absurd. She was my sister-in-law, somebody I had known for a long time, so it seemed stupid of me to think that she would ever think of doing something like this. Well, for those who have not figured it out yet, spoiler alert, she was thinking of doing something exactly like that. Oh my gosh. Let me explain. So that brings us to over a week ago, where I was telling my brother that I was done staying single and moping about my past. I told him that I started thinking about dating again and asked his opinion on it. He was very happy that I was finally thinking about it and told me that I had taken enough time for myself. Well, he said that dating was also going to help me forget, but doing it immediately would have just made things way, way worse. So he goes on to tell me to go ahead and said that he could help if I had lost my charm. And then my sister-in-law chimed in. She asked how he would help charm girls, and Ryan just mumbled that he would give me ideas. She then said that my idiot brother was right and that I needed to get back into the playing field. Both of them wished me luck, and before I left, my brother told me that in a few days he was going on a trip with his friends, and if Jenna needed any help, she would call me. And I told him, yeah man, always. This has been our go-to saying when we ask something of each other. So, cut to a few days. Jenna calls me and tells me that my brother was out for this trip and asked me if I was free for dinner. She said that she was trying a new recipe and also wanted to catch up with me since for a few months I had not visited as much. Although I was there just a few days ago, but only for a few minutes, Jenna used to be a line cook and is now a full-time housewife. She occasionally makes up these new recipes and even sometimes gives them out to others for use in cookbooks. Now, I didn't mind having dinner with her, as I actually liked hanging out with her. But I was a bit hesitant at first, thinking about how weird she had been around me for these past few months. But then I remembered our last interaction, which showed me how much she cared about me. So I told her that she better make something good. I decided that I was just overthinking things and that she had always taken care of me the same way. That day in the evening, I went to my brother's place and I assumed that she must have already told him on a call or something, so I didn't disturb him. When I reached her, she was cooking and was incredibly happy that I could make it. We had a long chit-chat while she cooked, and then we started drinking. Now, what made me absolutely drop my gum was that she was acting like she used to before my breakup, which made me look at her as a sister again. So I got careless, and when she told me that she wants to hear about my relationship, I didn't think much and started to tell her. Thinking about my girlfriend and my past relationship, it made me sad, and this was the first part of her plan. Because of how sad I got, I stopped thinking about how much I was drinking and ended up drinking a lot. I barely remember eating food, after which we started drinking again. And I wish I would have noticed how little she was drinking, but I didn't. I just kept talking about how I wanted to marry my ex and trying to drink my pain away. I think she put something in my drink because I never really get this drunk to forget what happened. I remember my vision going blurry and then waking up in hell. Oh, I'm not using a metaphor here, I woke up in literal hell. So I woke up in Ryan's bed wearing nothing and had the worst hangover of my entire life. Then I turned over, and what I saw is now haunting me in my nightmares. I saw my sister-in-law half naked looking at me with a big smile on her face. I freaked out and almost punched her. While I was scrambling to get my clothes on, she was just laughing. I felt violated as I asked her, why did she do this to me? She answered that she did nothing and that it was me who initiated. I put my clothes on and begged her to put on something. She then asked me why I was shy, as I did not mind looking at her last night. I told her I knew that she had done this and she probably mixed something in my drink. She refused and said that I wanted this as much as she does. I still have that feeling I felt at the second, disgusted by my own body and what we had done. I told her how she could smile after doing this to my brother, and she said we both did it. No matter how much I blamed her, she threw it right back, making me feel worse. I told her she was disgusting and that she planned all of this to sleep with me, and she just kept smiling. I'll be honest, I'm not a violent person, but I felt so violated, and the fact that she kept smiling made me want to really just punch her oh so badly. But I controlled myself even when she said that she loved what we did yesterday and wanted to keep sleeping with me on the side. She said that Ryan would never suspect it and it would be great. I told her that I would rather be, off myself than touch her again. I also told her that if she believed I was going to stay silent about this, then she had clearly made a huge error, and that I was going to tell everyone about what she did. I told her that she was a disgusting human being who did not deserve a family like ours. She then laughed and told me that she didn't care and told me to tell everyone. She then asked me if I was ready to destroy my brother's life and ruin it. That is, if he believed what I said. She said if I do end up telling him, she's not going to stay silent about it. She'll try to spin the story and make me the villain. Then she asked me if I had enough faith in my family and brother to know if they would believe me over her. She also said that I was at a disadvantage already because I was a man, and that everyone would easily believe her story and shut down mine before I could even say anything. I won't lie, she scared me. But what got to the most was that I would be taking my brother's happiness from him and would be making him absolutely miserable. You know, there's just no doubt that no matter how bad a person's sister-in-law is, yeah, she does keep him very, very happy. Ugh, man. I left, and I have not spoken to her or even seen her since. As I already mentioned, this happened 2 days ago. My brother is returning home today, and I've been stuck debating with myself, thinking if I should keep quiet and let my brother live with what monster he has, or if I should just destroy everything. And no matter how much I think, I cannot make a choice. On top of it, I feel like crap for letting her do what she did, and I don't even know if I can face my brother. So, if you're still reading this, please, guys, I'm begging you, drop me a little bit of advice. What would you do? Should I tell Ryan everything, or should I just keep it inside and let her win? Please, I'm begging you to let me know. Update number 1. Hey, everyone. It's been a week since I told you guys about what I was going through. And I wish I had good news. I have the worst possible news because the worst possible thing happened to me after I finally made my decision. I never imagined that sister-in-law would drop this low after doing everything she did. Let me explain. A few days after my original post, I finally decided that I needed to tell my brother everything. I had not spoken to him ever since he came back, and the same went for Jenna. As it was late at night, and when I decided to do this, I decided to wait till the next morning. But I had no clue that I would be waiting for a big surprise the next day. The next day, as soon as I woke up, I saw a text from my brother asking me to come visit him. I said I was going to come there anyways. So I finished everything I needed to do at home and left, and when I reached his place, I was surprised to find my parents. A few close relatives there, and they were comforting a crying Jenna. Just like you, I immediately put 2 and 2 together and realized that she had more or less flipped the story and blamed me. I don't know for sure, but I think that she assumed that I was going to rat her out and decides to do it before me. But that was not my biggest concern at the moment. Looking at the faces of my family members, I knew that I need to explain everything as brief as possible, because I knew that my brother was not going to let me talk a lot. I told him that I was going to explain everything and that he needs to trust me. I start telling them about how she tricked me. She got me drunk and drugged me. But before I could even finish my sentence, my mom slapped me. She asked me if she had raised me to do this, and I told her I did not do it, but got slapped again, and she asked me to shut up. She then said that I had brought shame to everyone in the family, and that if it were not for my sister-in-law, I would be thrown in jail. This made me mad. I mean, come on. I screamed and screamed that it was all part of her plan and I was innocent. I already realized that my parents and relatives were not going to believe me, so I turned to my brother, who I hoped would at least hear me out. I looked at him, but he just looked mad at me. I had tears in my eyes as I asked him to believe my words, and that I would never do something like this. I told him in brief what happened to me and said that it was his wife who had hurt me. I told him that I would never ever hurt him, and this love was the same thing that made me wait before coming to him. I told him how much I had thought about all this and how I had come to the conclusion that I could not keep this inside because I had to tell the truth. You know, I then told him that he was my brother and that he knew me better than anyone. As I asked him if he thought I was capable of something like this, he didn't answer the question and only said that I was no brother of his. Then he asked me to get out and never show my face. When I refused, he sucker punched me, dragged me, and threw me out. But before he got me fully out, I promised my sister-in-law I would show everyone who she really was, and that I was not going to sit silently. My family threatened then to get me arrested if I showed my face again. You know the hardest thing about all this? It's the fact that I can't forget that disgusting reaction my family gave me. It's only been a few days since then, but no matter how much I try, I cannot contact anyone. I don't have anyone who believes my story. Heck, you guys have been reading from the start, but if I start looking, I think I can still find a few who think that I'm the culprit. I guess that's just the world we live in. I did threaten my sister-in-law, but I have no way of proving anything. I have no idea how else I can convince my family, so please, give me some advice. I really, really need it. Update number 2. It's been over 3 months, and I'm sorry for disappearing. But I only wanted to update you guys when I had something solid. After all these months and hard work, I finally do. So I guess this must be very confusing. Well, let me explain. For a few weeks after my last update, I kept trying to contact my family, but everyone had given up on me. The few who picked up only reminded me of how disgusting and a regret I was that my parents and brother felt for, and it was just too much. Slowly, the word had reached out and seeped through to my friends, who also cut me off and told me I should, do ungodly things to myself. Honestly, I don't want to go into too much detail about this because it was truly a horrible experience, and I felt like leaving everything and running away. But I felt that it was my duty to help my bro, as nobody else knew the truth about Jenna. So I kept trying, but my will did not last very long. I was forced to give up and leave my home as I felt that staying there was only going to depress me. I wanted a change of scenario so that I could think and come up with a good idea. Staying at home only reminded me of what my parents and my brother told me and what everyone thought of me. I moved into my friend's place far away, and here 2 of my friends who also collected watches stayed. And they agreed to help me after I told them about my situation. By helping me, I mean letting me stay with them for the long time being. Well, here I spent over 2 weeks trying to come up with an idea. But it was only one of my friends who I was sharing the house with who gave me a good one. Well, one day, he told me that if I just wanted proof, why could I not make her cheat again by having her meet with someone who she would surely fall with? As soon as I heard it, I knew that this was a great idea. I then called the best-looking guy I know, old Hank, who's a wealthy watch lover and my dear friend. I've sold him several watches, but the good thing about him is that nobody in my family even knows the guy. And also, he is very charming. You can call him the better-looking version of me. So I was sure that sister-in-law would fall for him, and I then contacted him and we met, and I asked him if he would help me. Obviously, he's single, otherwise I would not ask. After hearing my story, he got emotional and he agreed to help me and told me that he was going to do anything to expose what sister-in-law did to me. Believe me, I was fully crying when he said this, as not only did he believe in my story, but also agreed to help me even though I was asking so much. Not every friend does that. Hank and I planned other stuff, and I taught him to be the kind of person my sister-in-law would like immediately. 1 month ago, he started bumping into her, and for 1 week, we just let her take notice. Then she met him at her gym and introduced herself, and they became quick friends. After 2 more weeks, she told him about her marriage and lied that she was unhappy and made my brother look like the bad guy. And this week, they finally slept together after I had made Hank a little reluctant to sleep with her. I knew that she would go crazy for him if he made her feel that he didn't want to, because that's what her main attraction with me was. She knew I didn't want to. So it's definitely hard to work and think about making Jenna happy, as all I want to do is take everything from her. But I'm getting close to that. In a little time, I'll have enough to show everyone the truth, and I'll let you guys know exactly what goes down. Final updates. Hey guys. It's been 2 months since my last post, and what I wanted to do finally happened. But I'm just jumping the gun here. Let me resume from where I left off. So after my last update, the only thing me and Hank were waiting for was some sort of confession or even a mention of what she did to me. Obviously, I had compiled numerous records of her cheating, but I still wanted some hard proof of what she did to me. I wanted to leave her no room to manipulate anyone. It took us a long time, but about a month ago we finally got it. So I made Hank, as they were drinking, tell her a similar type of story about how when his girlfriend's best friend found out that he was cheating on her, he blamed the best friend for breaking up the relationship. She wasn't even drunk, but alcohol definitely made it easy for her to drop her guard. And since she had known Hank for months, the fact that she believed he didn't know any of her family made her confident. She laughed with him as he finished his story and started thinking about hers. She then slowly started talking about me, but only mentioned me by name and said I was a relative, but did not say that I was her husband's brother. She then told him the entire story, and I mean the entirety of it, and Hank later told me that it was so hard to maintain a smiling face, but he did. And she also mentioned that she did drug me just a little bit. The next day, Hank calls me up and gives me the good news, and as I listened to the recording, tears were streaming down my eyes of happiness, but this time, they were not bad tears. Just about a week later, I show up at my parents' house and made them let me in. I told them I had something to tell them about that night, and I was ready to accept everything. They let me in, and as soon as they did, I turned the tables and acted like I was going to do something crazy unless they called my brother and his wife here. I felt bad scaring them, but there was no way my brother would agree to see me otherwise. He came with Jenna and was incredibly mad. Also, when I felt bad about doing this, I told myself that this was a payback for them not believing me. As soon as he came in, I didn't waste any time and introduced my friend Hank. Sister-in-law's reaction as soon as she saw him was indescribable. After a second, she just froze and I had to call her name 3 times to wake her up. Then I asked her to tell everyone the truth and she was hesitant. Then I started talking about it and she started screaming until my brother heard that this was the guy she had been sleeping with. He then asked her to shut up. Hank finished the rest. He looked at her to confirm, and she looked away in shame, but unfortunately I was not done. I then played the recording, and sister-in-law begged me to stop and then tried to jump at me, but my brother caught him. Ryan then had to listen to his wife tell the person she was sleeping with how she forced me to sleep with her. Believe me, Evine, in my condition, I would not trade places with him. After hearing it, he was broken and looked like he was going to faint. Sister-in-law went straight to his legs and begged my brother not to believe these lies, but this time she was the one everyone was looking at with disgust. I genuinely got happy. She then dragged and was thrown out just like me, and my brother went home and immediately took all her stuff and kicked it to the curb. My parents could not believe what they had just witnessed, and they hugged me and begged me to forgive them while crying. I told them I didn't blame them. A few days later, I properly thanked Hank by giving him an actual rare watch from my collection as a gift, and I had to force him to accept. My brother also came to apologize to me, but could not form any words other than that he was sorry, that he did not believe me. He looked broken, embarrassed, and even depressed. I told him that I would forgive him only if he moved in with me like old times. And, well, he was so shocked that he said, "Really?" And I told him, "Always, bro." It's been a few weeks since then, and my brother has decided to divorce his wife, which is the best step forward. Sister-in-law has tried to contact him, but it's not gonna work. Also, I can't believe that I finally proved myself innocent and have to remind myself that this is not a dream. Anyways, this is probably it for my story, but if something else happens, I will update again.